Hey Wolfpack, I went to the movies the other day and I saw this movie. It was called let's call it Les Misérables. I feel stupid saying that. Let's call it Les Mis. I am something of an anomaly because I have never seen anything to do with this show. I've never heard any of the songs. I've never seen the show on Broadway or YouTube or at my high school in some terrible production where people just wrecked it. So I went into this knowing absolutely nothing about it. Talked a little bit about that on Twitter and people seem to be interested in what a Les Mis noob. If you have not seen the movie, I'm going to talk a little bit about spoilers, but if you've seen the show, I imagine that you probably already know everything that's going to happen. Like, you know how it ends with the giant robots and the lasers and the aliens. Because to someone who did not know the songs, it was kind of difficult to really get into them. And I'll explain why. If you're not aware of the unusual thing that they did with this movie, they had the actors singing live on set. Usually when they do a movie musical, they will record the songs ahead of time and then on set, the actors will just lip sync to their previous performance, which allows them to have perfect pitch and really get the song down how they want it. But the acting always kind of suffers because they're trying to catch up. With this, they had the actors sing their parts as they were acting them, which allowed them to do a lot more talk singing and a lot less proper singing. Right off the bat, I think a lot of the emotional impact of the story was lost on me because I didn't know it already and I had to work to try to follow what they were saying during the songs. Most musicals have, I don't know, like maybe 6 to 10 songs in them. I counted this one had 49, so that's a lot of singing. It's like constant singing to the point where it's almost an opera, and maybe that's how it is in the musical as well. Like I said, I have no idea. But there was a lot of singing, and when people sometimes mumble, I'm looking at you, Javert, you can't fully understand what they're saying. I would like to say that I was absolutely blown away by Wolverine's performance in this. The way that he sang was really good, and he did a much better job, in my opinion, than the Gladiator guy did. Wolverine is better than the Gladiator. For those of you who don't know, this movie covers a huge swath of time in France. I thought it was going to be during the French Revolution, but shows you what I know. It's after the French Revolution, and it's basically about people not being happy with how that turned out. Personally, I was probably most impressed by the solo performance of Mia Thermopolis because they had just this close-up right on her, and the princess did not disappoint. They had a one-shot song where she just completely blew us away about dreaming a dream, and I was moved by that because I could really understand it because she was really singing it. I was surprised by how little of the movie she was in because she was so good. Anyway, so she dies, Wolverine adopts her daughter, who is Karen Smith, and they go off to Paris to have all sorts of adventures. She meets a boy who sings like Kermit the Frog, and they fall in love. Before I went to go see it, a lot of people were telling me to bring boxes of tissues or towels or just be prepared for a lot of crying. And while it was a very emotional movie, I was not terribly moved by it, and that means one of two things. Either I have just a black space where my heart should be, or it was very important to kind of know the story going in and know the songs going in so you could appreciate the way that the actors were tweaking the melodies and the timing. If you've ever seen me perform any of my music, you know I am a big fan of changing songs up, so it's not that I'm against changing the songs, it's just that I think it might take me a couple more viewings of the film or listening to the original Broadway cast first to really appreciate how good the music in the movie was. One thing I will say though is that I really appreciated how good the acting was. They didn't shy away from anything, and they really threw their actors full bore into their roles. They didn't hold anything back, and I absolutely loved that. And now to the thing that got me into a little bit of trouble on Twitter. I asked if anybody out there actually liked Javert, because I couldn't see anything likable or redeeming about him in this film at all. And it took me going back to videos and recordings of other people playing this character for me to understand who he was, because he felt so hollow in this film. His songs seemed like a waste of screen time when they could have been really beautiful anthems. For instance, there is a song called The Confrontation, which is sung by Wolverine and the Gladiator, and it is an amazing song, but frankly, the guys from How I Met Your Mother were able to give it more life than the guy who played Javert was. I mean, come on, Gladiator, get in the arena and spill some blood. I walked out of the movie floored. I thought it was visually stunning. I thought the acting was brilliant. I thought a lot of the music was beautiful, but I didn't walk out with bright red eyes and tear-streaked cheeks. I really liked Jean Valjean, and I really liked Eponine. I thought her song was absolutely perfect. So if you are someone who is super into Les Mis, let me know which versions I should be watching, which recordings I should be listening to fully understand the grandeur which is the show that everybody seems to love. Because I am very interested in it. I thought the story was really gripping, but it lost me a lot of times in the musical aspect. 50% of the music was kind of lost on me, and I wish that it were not. But certain songs were really, really wonderful, like On My Own, Who Am I, Empty Chairs at an Empty Table, A Little Fall of Rain. After listening to a different version of it, The Confrontation. Let me know what your favorites are in the comments, and I will be down in the comments as well, hoping to learn from you musical nerds. I hope that you guys are having a swell day, and until I see you next, be brilliant! I gotta stop.